with another video, man. We back with a brand new interview today. I am the Listen Doctor, A.K.A. the Doc, and this is my beautiful host, Miss Cookie Baby. Smoke alarms. Yes, we've been joined with no other than Napyheadzee, man. One of the great artists in the game. Today, man, it's our first interview of many with him. We are getting ready to talk about a lot of different things, his upbringing when he was a child, everything that has to do with music, his music, period. So if you guys are in the building, do us a favor by hitting the like button. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, and make sure you go follow him on all his platforms. He will put it in the bottom of the link. I have his email if you guys want to email him some questions during this. You can go ahead and put it in the email. It's in the description box. And if you want to ask us any questions, jump up in the comment section, man, and ask some questions.
I can actually, is there a way I can put my LINKTREE in here?
Yeah, put it in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember it off the top of my head. Matter of fact, I don't want to send the wrong link.
What are you trying to do?
Put his LINKTREE.
Yeah, my LINKTREE. Excuse me.
Oh, I know. So this is one and only Ezra, Starker. This is my stepson, but I don't use that word. This is my son, and he's been a character since he was born. Go ahead, Ezra. You can tell us about, where you're from, your siblings, your mom, all your little, your family and your upbringing.
Well, I was born in Charleston, West Virginia, but I don't remember really too much from whenever I was younger, besides getting in trouble in school, coming over, cookie house and eating Play-Doh, terrorizing my little sister and my big sister. I went to Texas. I came back around the age of 10, 11. That's where most of my story really begins. I feel like that's where I actually got my conscience. That's as far back as I can remember where the trouble, the real trouble had started. I lost one of my buddies at 10, so that really kind of threw me, 10 years old to lose a friend. You don't really understand death like that, and then, I ain't never really talked about, myself like that. So I'm just trying to think about what to say. But, after that, I started getting into trouble in school, I suppose, in and out of, a bunch of different schools. These details to me don't really matter, you know what I mean? But, it was a lot going on, and I'm sure, as kids, you could trust a lot in that. Everybody has shit going on. But I just didn't know how to deal with mine. So I ended up, I did something dumb. I will go into details on this just because hindsight, I was just bold. I used to steal cars and all that. You know what I mean? Just going crazy in the city for no reason. At least I didn't know the reason. You know what I mean at the time. But I had got locked up after I stole a gun out of a car. I stole a car. They started looking for me, stole a gun out of the car. So then they ended up finding me, which is basically the gist of it. So I went and I got locked up, which is where I met one of my close friends, Ransom. He got me. He the reason why I even make music to this day. He got me into music.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, real deal. Started me off, helped me write my first rap, and ever since then I just been going, just been rapping. So if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't really be making music, But that's why I met him, and then from then on up until I was about 17, it was about a month before I turned 18 because they let me off, I was incarcerated in detention centers, trying to found my way. I was in school a little bit here and there, but never really enough to. It was enough to pass grades, you know, not and not be dumb. You know, it was really all I could say. But I didn't really make any friends. Most of the friends I have, I met in jail. So, I got out whenever I turned 18, and that was whenever I was like, you know, I was actually sounding good with the music, you know, wasn't making garage band beats anymore, you know, doing my thing and all of that. And then, you know, really started to peak with my music and started to get my first fan base. I appreciate it. Thank you. I started getting my first fan base, and, you know, like I said, I was recording with some people that only recorded popular people, so my first few songs wasn't coming out how I liked them. And plus I wasn't living with my parents, I was living with one of my exes, so some things was going on, and I ended up getting kicked out of her crib. I moved to South Carolina, and that's where I really started to, you know, this is most recent, and I really started to peak with my music, you know, which is whenever He Since came out and 32 Exactly. And those are, I feel like, in my opinion, my two best. I made Take It in West Virginia, and that's one of my songs that I like a lot, just because of what I'm talking about in it, you know. But that was just because I really resonated with that song, of course, because I made it. But, you know, it was a lot of stuff going on. But, you know, I came to South Carolina. I met one of my favorite engineers I've worked with yet, Kami. And, you know, shout out to him too, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have found my sound. You know, he pushed me to do a little bit more. He pushed me to go further and get out of my comfort zone and stop, you know, worrying about how it's going to sound and just go with how I feel. You know what I mean? And then found my sound, and that's really where Napyheadzee came from. Because before that, it was just, you know, Nico or Z or all of these other little aliases. And then, you know, Napyheadzee came out of, you know, me trying to find myself. So I just stuck with it, ran with it. I know it's kind of long, but, you know, that's who I am. That's me, you know.
So let me take it back a little bit. When you were into the juvenile detention centers, was there anybody authority figures, was there anybody who made you feel and made you end up wanting to change your life, as well as what did you learn while you were there that you were able to put forth when you changed?
Most definitely. I had there was a lot of good influences. There was also a lot of, you know, a lot of bad CEOs, bad people, but I had a few specific teachers. There's actually one specifically. Her name's Miss Ashley Loudermilk, and I'll probably never forget her, and I still communicate with her till this day. But she really, I'm not going to say that she treated me better than the other kids, because she knew how to treat each kid individually, because as kids, you know, especially in a juvenile detention, we're all going to have different needs. Not every kid needs attention. Not every kid needs, you know, love. Not every kid needs this, that, and the third, you know, because some kid might come from a perfect household and still end up in the same place I was, you know, so she tended to their specific needs. But with me, you know, I wanted to feel like I had a voice, you know what I mean? And she helped me really find my voice and my authority with myself, helped me self-discipline myself, because I didn't know how. And with that came, you know, allowing others to discipline me if I'm in that position, you know what I mean, where I was locked up, you know, just letting what the CEOs were saying slide off my back, or, you know, anything like that. So she was definitely a big influence in why I changed. I also had two of my uncles in there. You know, I had one of them, he was a corporal, you know, he was pretty chill. And then, you know, but they pretty much just helped me feel the familiarity, you know, and not feel like I was so, I guess, alone. You know, because everybody knows it gets alone, whether you're in a juvenile or whether you're in jail, that shit gets alone, you know what I mean?
Right.
And, you know, helped me feel like I wasn't so lost, still had that sense of home, you know, still having family around, you know. So it really, I can't even say that it was the people that made me want to change. It was just repeating the old cycles, and I started seeing the same results, and it just got to a point to where, for myself, I just didn't want to continue to do the same thing. I didn't want to continue to make the same ignorant music, the same ignorant steps that I was making just to be knocked 3 back, you know what I mean? So it was really my decisions that made me want to change. I look back and I'm embarrassed.
So, you know, nobody should be, because it's a part of your journey. So do you feel like growing up that you were misunderstood?
Definitely, as you know, every kid is, you know what I mean? I was I grew up in a household which I love everybody that raised me, you know, which is why I'm not, you know, I love everybody that raised me with all my heart, you know, but it was just growing up. I grew up in a household where the generation before me, you know, it was just like, you know, I'm the type, you hear all the time, in order to get respect, you have to give it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I don't really think like that. I feel like it should just be mutual until somebody's disrespected. You know, that's not something that should be thrown up. You know what I mean? So it was like, I definitely didn't have a voice in my own household, which led me into thinking that I didn't have a voice anywhere else. But it goes a lot deeper than that, you know. It was just yeah, it's not anything different than the usual kid. You know, kids are misunderstood. It's just how we interpret. It's how we interpret it. You know what I mean? And as a child, I interpreted, you know, I thought everybody was out to get me. You know what I mean? I didn't want to listen, because even though it may have helped me, it wasn't the right way to get across to me. You know what I mean? Even as a male kid, you know, you grow up in the hardest situation, you're going to have some sense of sensitivity as a human. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's what really leaded me, like, if it led me into being insensitive, because I stopped, you know what I mean? I don't care it's not that I don't care how I talk to people now, but I have a hard time talking to people or expressing how I feel, you know what I mean? Because I didn't get a chance to, so now I express myself how I feel, or how I saw, you know, everybody else express themselves to me, you know? So
you was raised by a lot of strong women.
Yeah.
Strong women.
Did that make you like hard, like your heart cold, or did it make you feel like, I'm not gonna let nobody deter what I think about myself?
It kind of did, because as a kid, you don't really know what to think about yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I was to the point to where I was, you know, into drugs and stuff. I was a teenager. I'm not even going to say a kid, because it gets worse whenever you're a teenager. That's when you got hormones running through your body. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it got to a point to where I was, you know, I was real bad on Xanax, drinking lean, doing this, doing that. And it wasn't even like I was looking for who I was. I, you know, wanted to find, it was more like I was running away from, trying to hide or get away from who I was.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was really, if I'm being completely honest, I did LSD and had a bad trip, and that's whenever I honestly really sat to myself and thought, is this what I want my existence to be? You know what I mean? Is this how I want to be remembered? If I were to die tomorrow, is this how I want to be remembered? You know what I mean? Knock on wood, but truth be told, we're not promised. So, it was a lot of finding my own thoughts, and a lot of everybody else's thoughts that tied in to the way that I think now. And it's not more so like, because that sounds like, to me, that would sound like I'm brainwashed. Like when I hear myself say that, it sounds like I was brainwashed, but it's not that. It's just perspective truth is the truth. You know what I mean?
Right.
I might hear what you're saying to me, but I'm going to decipher what you're saying different than how you interpret me to, or different than how you interpret it. You know what I mean? So,
right.
It was just that understanding that everybody has a different view on what's going on that really led me to gain back my sense of empathy and sympathy. You know, gain back my sense of being a human. You know, I felt dehumanized going through the system at a young age. And in West Virginia, I'm not going to say that they're the most racist, but you run into a few, and I ran into quite too many whenever I was going through the system. You know what I mean? So that'll definitely, for a child, that'll definitely do it to you, you know?
Right.
But I mean, yeah, I guess I really shouldn't. I'm not even really going to say I'm embarrassed by it because it is who I am today, but it's definitely not something that, you know, if it wasn't an interview, or if I wasn't asked or didn't want these people to know anything about me, I probably wouldn't talk about. You know, like, it's hard for me to bring these things up in relationships. You know what I mean? Just stuff like that, just because, you know.
Right. I mean, as a kid, you're actually trying to find yourself. You're trying to figure out who you are as a person. And then you get pinched, get locked up. You know, that fucks with you. I've been locked up before. That, you know, being locked up, you have to be vulnerable, but you can't be too vulnerable because you don't want people to pick on you or target you because you're too vulnerable. And you have to put up a fence. So when you come out and you get back into the real world of reality, you have to push back, and everything that you try to do for yourself and train yourself to do better, you have to push that in to make it better. But you said the guy that you got locked up with helped you to come in to be the artist. So kind of going to jail brought us this, because
exactly,
who would have known? You know, you might not have had that. You might be in the NBA, playing in the NBA somewhere, you know, not sitting here talking to us right now. So, you know, about music. So that kind of helped you in a little way, and it pushed you into a better man to me. Don't be ashamed about what you went through, because that's what makes you who you are. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Stand on that. You know,
appreciate that. Yeah, for sure.
Stand on that.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. I don't know if you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know, where I met it's just to add on what you were saying. I met my brother in jail. I wouldn't have started rapping. He got me rapping. You know, if it wasn't for him, like I said before. So, but yeah, you can continue what you wanted. What you was gonna ask.
So I wanted to know, being from from Virginia, and you say that it's a lot of racism up there. Did the racism deter you on what you think about America as a whole? And
definitely.
Like, I want to elaborate. Like, so did being, because you are black, but you being mixed, did that pick, like, a lot of people in school picked with you because of that?
Yeah, because most definitely, because it was a misunderstanding of me even, not even a misunderstanding, like, just the way that we're taught, right? The way that I think is mixed is black and white. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily black and white. You know, I'm a direct descendant of Lebanon. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm light. That's why you see my hair. I got blue eyes. You know what I mean? I do have white in me, but my father's mixed. You know, his you know, it's I'm not gonna say it's too slim, but it's slimmer than the Lebanese, than the black. You know what I mean? So with that misunderstanding, it's just once people really got to know me and I got to explain that fact, it got a little bit different. But that wasn't until high school. You know, young day I got called light bright, a light bulb. You know what I mean? I was too white to be, you know, too white to be black and too black to be white. So it definitely got to me because I feel like I was getting it from both ends. And in all reality, if they really, you know, wanted to know, they could call me a foreigner if they really wanted to. I'm more Native American and Lebanese than I am white or black. So they're just making themselves look more ignorant. And whenever I, you know, got to that fact, it kind of made it a little better because, you know, I'm not white. I'm not black. If anything, I can go to, you know what I'm saying? I am,
Right.
and I'm definitely going to, you know, my heritage is my heritage. But if it really came down to it, I'm Lebanese. You know what I mean? That is my motherland. You know, I have, you know, I can definitely say over 50% of Lebanon blood running through my veins.
Right, facts. See, because I had it, you know, I speak on it because being, you know, black, my mom was black and she is black. She's African American, Haiti. Her family's from Haiti. And my dad was black, Samoan, and Mexican. So I was, as a kid, I used to look like a black Mexican. They used to call me like burrito, all kind of weird ass, dumb ass names. And to be honest, like, they were so ignorant. A lot of Mexicans don't like Mexican food. They just don't, because they always get targeted, like because of what their food preference is. They always get targeted. So hearing that you was in school and people used to call you light bright, that notion that light skinned boys are soft, like, that shit's stupid. And it's kids that put that image into the world, and then we grow up to be big ass kids, adults, and we do that shit and we train our kids to do it. It's like a repeating cycle.
Exactly.
You know, that's it. Very
it
vicious.
was like I had, as a light skin, I had to grow up in a dark skin image. I had to be tough all the time. I had to fight all the time. I had to, you know what I mean? And that's, you know, so that right there, it was just like, you know, it was just a thing of acceptance, you know. And really now everybody that's in my circle, we don't look at colors. I got brothers that, you know, harder than I am, that's white. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even like about hard or who not hard. It's about what you have to do to survive. And that doesn't make anybody less harder than the next. Like I said, it's a survival. We're in this to survive. It's a life game, you know.
Facts.
So it's just, you know, people that are woke, when you understand, you really understand. And that's really how I differentiate the people that I let into my circle. You know, I don't talk, you know, I'm not the type to say I hate white people. I don't hate dark skins, you know what I mean? Because of what I went through. It's just, if anything, if I get that hate, I'm going to embrace that and tell you why you should too. You know what I mean?
Facts.
It's to the point to where, you know, there shouldn't be any more arguments between, because it's like, it's worse. It's, you know, I hate to quote Lil Baby because I don't listen to him like that, especially this song, but somebody quoted it themselves and it really resonates with me. It's bigger than black and white. You know what I mean? Because like you said, you got Mexicans that have black and then black that have Mexican, you know what I mean? Not everybody is one specific race. A lot of these white people out here can be German, you know what I mean? They could be Dutch, they could be, you know what I mean? All of this other stuff, you know what I mean? And it's just like, when you eliminate color and see everybody as just people, really the only difference is the language barrier. And that can be easily accomplished if we were to come together and learn something, you know, as a group. Babe, will you bring me my charger? My phone about to die.
Facts. Like, even with the owner of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, he just found out this year he has black in his family. His great grandfather was black.
That's plausible, you know what I mean? You know, and that's the crazy part about it. You know, 9 people out of 10 have Lilith's gene. And if you are knowledgeable, Lilith was the very first woman that they have record on paper of in Africa. She is the one who literally links us all together. We all share her skin. You are my brother. You're my kin. You know? So that's why, you know, it's really spiritual. Like I said, I had to do acid and really open. It's a spiritual thing that you have to get. I had to open my third eye, my pineal gland, and be open to a lot of things that people really aren't willing to be open to. Things that are looked at as witchcraft or looked at as voodoo, in order to find where I'm from, because it's so hidden and so sheltered by the government, not even by the people of America, by the government of America. You know what I mean? Because without that, I don't have true power.
Right. So my girl Cookie is back.
Sorry. There's an emergency with one of the hosts. My job never stops. You touch bases on a lot of things. And that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of stuff when it comes to Ezra I have been blessed and appreciative and love that I've been able to be in his life since he was a baby. One thing about it, his mom, Selena, we worked together. We really did. We worked together. And, that's what helped with these kids because, his grandmother, Nina and my mom, Mama, when I met, he was raised by strong women and we never gave up on him. I don't care. First grade, he got suspended for the whole year. If I came to that school, he would act up when Selena would come, and then I'd be with her because he would know we'd end up showing up together. And as soon as I came in, he tucked his head down, and I'm like, "Oh no, son, bring that head up," So that helped him in ways. And I always believe everybody goes through things for your own journey. And to see him 21 is very heartwarming. Y'all know I get emotional. And at the same time, I can touch on this. Our children is a miracle if they make it to 21.
Facts.
It's not back to if I make it to 30. Our children are barely making it to 21. They've lost a lot of friends, a lot of talented friends.
Ball players,
very talented, and it hurts. It hurts me to see that. But all I can say is, no matter who did give up on him, hey, he's 21 and standing. Works, never let work go. Struggles, just like all we do. And to still hold his head up and be like, what am I going to do tomorrow? And I appreciate you, Ezra. I love you deeply. You know how
I love you too.
So after this little emotional part, because there's more substance to him, let's talk about your music now and how do you feel about what you're producing now versus even a year ago, and your drive that you have that's more than even last year. Tell me your growth of your path.
Really, every song that I work on, I try not to sound the same in the last song. That's why I have, I have a song for everybody. You know what I mean? Excuse me. I'm actually working on, I'm listening to a lot of different music that I don't really listen to, just to, catch what kind of, the vibe or whatever. So I'm getting into different genres like funk music, lo-fi music. It's just, compared to how it was last year, I was always worried about, being as hot as this rapper, being as hot as that rapper. I'm making a song like this rapper, I'm making a song like that rapper. And it's to the point to where, spending all of this time, especially alone, it's just, you find, like I said, I find my own sound, find my own voice, find my own flow, and it got to a point to where I was just like, I wanted to sound like Z, instead of this guy, that guy, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'll say that definitely wordplay is a big thing. I definitely work on all the time. I gotta have good wordplay in my music, or else it's not gonna stick. Anybody can make words rhyme. Anybody can do cookie cutter. A lot of music out there is cookie cutter rhymes. You know what I mean? ABC rhymes. So,
yeah,
right.
Wordplay gotta keep them in.
Right.
Do you feel that you fit in a certain category of a genre?
Yeah. Soul trap, my genre. It's a genre I'm trying to start. It talks about the trap, but it don't glorify it.
I don't know if you see that question on the bottom. You want to relate on that question?
My favorite hip hop artist in the game, I wouldn't have to pin it to one, then I'd be giving one too much credit. There's a lot of artists that inspire me. One of the biggest right now is G Herbo. just because he's, you know, I like G Herbo, I like Money Man, you know, I like I like you know, it's really, if I had to pin it down, I have to at least say two, and that would be Money Man and G Herbo. You know, I would say Lil Durk, but that's everybody's favorite artist, you know what I mean? And you know, so
Right. Okay.
So how do you feel about your supporters? I don't call them fans.
How do I feel about my supporters? I really just yeah, no problem, bro. I really just want to make sure that like everybody is satisfied with what they're supporting. You know what I mean? I know that my music isn't, I'm not going to say it's the best music out there, you know what I mean? Even though I do like to give myself credit, you know, I do think that I'm better than a lot of artists, but to say that would be arrogant. But what makes me stand out, you know, to touch on the question, you know, to wrap that up on what I'm saying, it's just everything I say is genuine, you know. Everything I say, it has to be real, and the people that know me really know that what I put in my music, you know, what I talk about, that's the raw, uncut, you know what I mean? I'm not going to glorify anything, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, you know, and it's not even just about what's going on in the streets, it's about my emotions, you know, it's about me. Anybody who wants to feel personally connected to me, go listen to one of my songs and you'll know how I feel, you know what I mean? You know what I got going through, or at least what's going on through my head in that day. You know, and if you can resonate with it, you can resonate with it. But the main thing is, you know, understanding where you have to understand where the artist is. You know what I mean? In order to be a fan of that artist, because you have to, you know what I mean? It's an understanding thing. And, you know, I make music that speaks the same language, that speaks different languages. You know, I make different music in different languages so that everybody can, you know, understand, you know.
So I gotta say, shout out to my beautiful Selena. We was just talking about his mom is in the comments. Again, I'll go ahead and let you know exactly what I said. I appreciate and love and adore, and it's precious that we're able to share these kids. You know, everybody doesn't see eye to eye all the time, but at the end of the day, like, it's about the kids. So I do want to touch back on your siblings. You have an older sibling and you have younger. How do you feel being the only